everyone, and welcome. I'm Jen Consalvo.
And I'm Frank Gruber, and we're the co-CEOs of Established. Thank you for joining us today. Today marks the 6th online event that we've hosted now, and our 4th fast-track online pitch competition that'll all kind of culminate at our 8th annual Startup of the Year Summit. When COVID-19 changed the world back in March, we decided to quickly move online and start presenting online events where we knew we could bring the most value.
So through our Startup of the Year program, we are able to provide a global platform where founders and their teams can share their work, while at the same time they can connect to our industry, experts, investors, ecosystem builders to further grow their businesses. Our intention has always been to support and elevate diverse early stage startups, and during these challenging times, we remain steadfast in advocating for equality. This is why this summer we decided to highlight 3 specific categories of entrepreneurs. First, we highlighted female founders in May. In July, we recognized U.S. veteran founders with our partner .us, and today we celebrate Black founders. According to the Case Foundation, venture capital firms have historically overlooked startups with Black founders, just 1% are venture-backed. It's our goal to see this number increase dramatically in our lifetime, but this takes the work of the entire community, including those who highlight startups, those investing and partnering, mentoring, and more.
Yeah, and in just a few minutes, we've got 5 founders who will pitch their innovations to an engaged panel of expert judges with a fast-paced Q&A. And at the end of today's event, we're actually going to give away $1,000 from Established and Startup of the Year, and then automatically fast-track one of these companies to be a semifinalist at our 8th annual summit in the fall. And there's also, when you come to the summit, a potential for investment of up to $20,000 from to the winning company from Startup of the Year. So Established Ventures is actually going to be making that investment. So those who are not familiar with Established Ventures, we provide a way it provides us a way to make several investments in startups as part of our Startup of the Year community. And as of the last few months, we actually have made 3 recent investments in companies from the Startup of the Year program, one of which has already successfully exited. Yay!
Super fast.
So go ahead, Jen.
So we're really excited that this year marks our 8th annual Startup of the Year Summit. Summit is the culmination of the 2020 competition where the championship title is on the table. And as Frank mentioned, potential investment for one of the top competitors. The Established team will present this year's summit 100% virtually online. And we're making a big, huge effort to make it as impactful as ever. So there'll be curated matchmaking between our semifinalists and our investor and leadership network, fireside chats, Ask a VC sessions, networking, and more.
And that more could be magicians or llamas, which I love both of, and or maybe just a lot of llamas.
And if you've been to our events in the past, you know that we're serious. Yeah,
that could actually happen. I would love to have one sitting right here with me right now, but I guess we haven't that worked out yet.
No.
Next time. So join us for our summit, where we'll be also highlighting some of the special .us veteran startups. We actually have a new category here for .us veterans. And it's in partnership with .us, and they'll be giving away a $10,000 non-dilutive cash prize to the startup that's founded by a U.S. veteran, spouse, or dependent. So, and if you didn't get a chance to, you can actually get a sneak peek of some of the incredible U.S. veteran-led startups in the 2020 application pool by just watching or listening to our July 23rd online event, which we hosted similar to this, and we had 5 veteran founders competing online, and you can watch that today. So go check that out. There's some links to our YouTube, and you should be able to go watch that.
That was just yesterday.
Yeah, it does. And it's also on our podcast. So if you're not familiar, we have a podcast, Start Your Podcast, where you can listen to the kind of, shortened version, if you will.
Yes. So just to remind you before we go any further, startups, if you want to apply, get your applications in by September 15th to be considered for the 2020 competition and our 8th annual Startup of the Year Summit. For everyone else, please spread the word, connect us to those diverse early stage startups in your network. And if it's easier, just go, there's a little link in your chat right now, fill out the form, and we will send you all the information. So now we'd like to give a shout out to some of our startup community partners. We partner with all kinds of organizations that support and develop startups. And these have been specifically influential in encouraging companies to apply for our Startup of the Year. So thank you so much to American Inno, Techstars, Collab, the Global Good Fund, and a special thank you to the Black Founders Exchange, Google for Startups, and Hillman Accelerators. And like I said, there are many more partners. We'll call them out, at other events, but thank you so much.
We couldn't do it without their support. So Thank you so much. All right. So now we shared a little bit about Startup of the Year program and a little bit about Established Ventures. Now let's take a couple minutes and share a little bit more about Established, the company here that's powering all these different programs. Let's take a look.
Established is a consultancy that helps organizations with their innovation, startup, and communication strategies. We act as a force multiplier, giving our clients the ability to go above and beyond to accomplish greater goals than they would alone. Our mission is to, wherever and whenever possible, discover, promote, foster, connect, build, and/or fund innovation that can change the world for the better. We help companies, organizations, and cities to develop, create, and execute successful strategies. The team at Established has been working in the startup ecosystem and innovation space for almost 2 decades. One of the things that has put Established on the map is our ecosystem strategy and the events and experiences associated with helping clients bolster their ecosystem exposure. Some of the various methods by which we provide exposure are our podcasts, virtual events, blogs, social media strategy and execution, and our daily Deal Flow newsletter, which continues to grow and currently reaches over 74,000 recipients. Established also produces and promotes events on behalf of our partners and clients. Additionally, one of the programs we've been working on the longest is our Startup of the Year program, a year-long program that searches the country for a geographically diverse set of startups from all backgrounds, pulling them together to compete for the title of Startup of the Year. The program includes a number of in-person and virtual events, including our annual South by Southwest Startup Pitch event and competition, all of which culminate at our annual Startup of the Year Summit, where the Startup of the Year winner is announced, along with an opportunity at potential investment through our investment arm called Established Ventures. Much of our work, though, is helping to provide startups with the connective tissue to help them be successful. We partner with investors and other organizations in ecosystems around the country, and in doing so, provide opportunities to startups with those various partners. Established also works with clients on branding, communication strategy, digital agency services and development, and more. With some of our clients, such as AFWorks and the NASA iTech program, we assist with research and development by fostering ecosystem connections, communication strategies, and startup sourcing to engage the startup community and solve some of the problems facing their organizations. So Established is here to help you find and source innovations that will help you meet your goals faster. Connect with us today to learn more.
All right, so that was a little bit about us. Phew, I'm tired. But we have a very talented team, and I love the work they did there and the work they do with us every day. So check out the links on the slide in the chat box. And now is the time to get started with this event. So we're going to introduce our incredible panel of judges today. So first, I'd like to welcome Shyla Nieves-Burney. She is the founding and managing partner of Zane Venture Fund. Shyla has spent over 20 years working closely with leading organizations and exceptional talents to create solutions that address disparities through investment in human capital. She founded Zane Venture Fund, a seed fund that would invest in underrepresented founders with the goal of closing the funding gap and generating high returns for investors. And Zane Access, which provides early stage companies led by diverse teams access to cross-functional experts, resources, best practices, and customized content critical for accelerating growth. Welcome, Shyla.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here and meet the company.
Yes, we haven't seen you since New Orleans, so it's great to see you.
I know, it seems like that was forever ago, and I think it was just last year.
All right, next up, we welcome Edward Jean-Louis, partner at Tail Venture Partners. Edward teamed up with Michael Young and founded Tail Venture Partners in 2017. Their mission isn't just to invest in companies that will be successful because they turn the bottom line. They're interested in culture and how to use company culture to help startups succeed. Welcome, Edward.
Thank y'all for having me. Pleasure to be here. I'm excited for today's event.
Love that you're bringing in nature with you.
Thank you.
We've got like thunder clouds, on the horizon.
Yeah, so. It looks like it's going to rain here. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Yep. Good to see you again. All right. Next, I want to introduce Aubry Pagano. She's a general partner at Corrigan Ventures. Aubry founded Bow and Drape, an online women's retailer that sells customized shirts and sweatshirts, which was acquired by Wynn's Brands Group. She went on to be an investment partner at X Ventures for several years, and now Corrigan Ventures as their newest partner. And at Corrigan, she focuses on businesses reshaping the real world, layering technology over the daily life experiences. That's pretty cool. And a little fun fact about Aubry, I like this. Bow and Drape was previously called Zora, and took part in one of our events back in Boston many, many, many years ago. So technically, she's actually a Startup of the Year alumni, and she may or may not know that. So welcome back.
I did know that. I was like, I'm not going to say what year it was, but it was.
Thank you.
Thank
That
you.
ages all of us.
No, please keep that. We'll never want to say that again. All right, so because we're 27 forever. So that's how that rolls. Anyway, next up we've got Christie Pitts. She's a general partner at Backstage Capital. Christie is an early stage investor with Backstage Capital and the co-founder of Backstage Studio. And she also leads up the Global Accelerator program as well. So she joined in 2017 and went on to assist sourcing and investing in more than 80 startups that are led by underrepresented founders like women, people of color, LGBTQ, and she's also brought that number from 80 to 140 companies now that they've invested in over at Backstage Capital. So pretty impressive numbers there. Christie, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
We're excited to have you.
All right, so thank you all the judges for being here today. Please mute your mics and we're gonna get started with the pitches. So here's how it works. Each startup will present a 2-minute pitch, then they will each engage with the judges for about 8 minutes of Q&A. When there's 1 minute left of Q&A, our friend Bessie is gonna pop into the screen. Audience, be sure to take notes. There's very often valuable tips and best practices shared in these conversations, and you'll want to take careful notes.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait to see Bessie.
You know, a little surprise for everybody.
Yep.
Ready to get started?
Yeah, ready to get started. All right, so you had me at llama. All right, our first startup is CPR Wrap, and it's founded by Felicia Jackson out of Hickson, Tennessee. So let's watch the pitch.
In 2002, I almost lost my baby to a choking incident. I was working in the medical field and CPR certified, but instead of doing what I was trained to do, I froze. Thankfully, my husband was there and he was able to save our son. But it was then I realized, if this could happen to me, then I know it's happening to people everywhere. According to the American Heart Association, more than 350,000 out-of-hospital cardiac arrests occur in the U.S. every year, with 240,000 of those happening in the home. The person most likely to respond to that emergency will be you. It's been proven that CPR provided immediately after cardiac arrest could double or even triple a victim's chances of survival. But 80% of Americans are reluctant to perform CPR due to a lack of knowledge or fear of causing harm. This is why I invented CPR Wrap. Our patented disposable CPR template protects and guides any non-medical responder during CPR. CPR Wrap has an attached one-way valve mouth barrier, visual hand placements, and simple instructions that can be translated into any language. They come in adult, child, and infant sizes with a price point of $14.99. Since our launch in 2017, we've sold over 8,000 units and have partnered with several nonprofits to provide CPR Wrap kits to underserved communities globally. The medical device industry is a $185 billion market. By implementing our go-to-market strategy, we've been able to foster many organizational partnerships as they include CPR wraps in schools, businesses, transportation, and alongside other safety devices. I have over 20 years experience in the medical field and have put together a team that are experts in sales, operations, and CPR to help grow CPR Wrap into a globally recognized brand. We're on a mission to empower people everywhere to step up and do the most basic, unselfish thing a human can do, save a life. We welcome you to visit us at cprwrap.com to save a life today. Thank you.
We'll get Felicia over here in a second. Felicia, welcome. Really interesting stuff. I became CPR certified the minute I had a little person, and so definitely strikes, hits you right in the heart there. So, Felicia, welcome.
Thank you.
Judges, now let's raise your hands and in the camera here, and we'll call on you for questions. Who has the first question? Ed, go ahead.
First of all, Felicia, great presentation. Thank you for sharing that with us. Not to share too much, but CPR actually helped save my life. So the work that you're doing is incredible. Question for you. What's the business model? Are you selling direct to consumer? Are you selling to retailers? Can you kind of speak to the business model a little bit? Thank you.
Right. So our business model is B to B to C, but we have our own e-commerce platform to sell direct to the consumer. And we're also on Walmart.com, but we're really focusing on bringing channel partners in to get the product out more efficiently.
Got it. Okay. And then just a quick follow-up. In terms of channel partners, the discussion with Walmart, is that around a pilot? Are you working on pilots with some regional distribution partners or channels? Or is that more of a direct to contract type relationship?
Right. We started that just to really work on our price point and to see if it would be a fit for the retail. And so we are Walmart. They are looking, of course, our e-commerce and how we're doing before they actually bring us into their brick and mortar. And we did partner with over 200 Ace Hardware stores all around the U.S. To see how CPR wrap would fare out. And we did very well in that testing model. So we're still testing it out.
Great. Next
Awesome. Thank
question.
you.
Who's got the next question? Raise your hand if you have one. Oh, okay. Shyla, go ahead, and then Aubry.
Hey, so great presentation. I really appreciate it. I always admire someone who started a company to solve a problem, especially a problem they experienced themselves. So kudos to you for doing that. So the one thing that, I don't know if you talked about the revenue. It seems like you guys have some sales and you've made some traction. Would love to know about your revenue. And then how have you pivoted during COVID-19? Has it impacted you at all? And if so, how have you thought about it moving forward?
Right. We have done revenue, but a big bulk of the company was towards R&D, getting the product right. And once we were able to actually bring it out there, to the masses, we started partnering with CPR trainers, hospitals, and that sort. So to date, we've made a little over $100,000, but we have 5.2 million in our pipeline, and that's warm introductions. And so that's why I'm really racing to get my team up and together to really capture those. COVID-19 did do a disservice to my company, and I know many others, but we had to pivot like everyone else. Like I say, CPR, it doesn't have seasons really don't affect CPR because people are going to have emergencies regardless of what type of pandemic is here. And that's why I know CPR wrap fits perfectly into what's happening now. And so we're scratching up, trying to become relevant again. And we're really getting out there to partner the way we know we can.
Great. Aubry?
I was going to ask something similar, which was I'd seen in the pitch that you'd said the company was started in 2017 and that it sold 8,000 units. So I was just curious what trajectory that was product dev versus how long you've been in market, which you answered some. And then my other question was going to be on the addressable market. You mentioned, about 500,000 people that, there's sort of preventable cardiac arrest. How do you think about your market size? Is that your market size that you're addressing?
Right. So the market size for medical devices is $185 million, $2 million specifically for CPR devices. And we have some big players like Zoll, Medtronics, Philips, Stryker. Those are big companies that are in that market where we're trying to penetrate, that we are penetrating, but they are only focusing on, trained people. 56% of people in the world don't know CPR, and those are the consumers, and those are the people that we're trying to capture. So that it's enough for CPR wrap to be involved.
Do you have any?
Go ahead.
Can I raise my hand? Okay. Can you share if you have any success stories where customers have been able to successfully use your product in order to save a life?
Right. So we made it available to any partners that we have a partner with, like police departments, school systems of that sort, to let us know if they've had to use the CPR wrap in real time. To date, no one has ever had to use it yet, but we know it will. And so the information we're getting are people that lost someone or actually witnessed someone go into cardiac arrest before they even got our product. And so that's making it, we need to get it out there quicker, to help save some of those lives.
Okay, thank you. I do have a follow-up question. Sure. So in terms of research and development, how do you develop a product like this where I was looking at some of the pictures of the product online, and it seems like you have, there's written instructions for people to follow because they're not familiar with CPR. So how do you test your product if you can't obviously test it in real life circumstances when somebody's actually choking?
Right. So CPR has been around for quite some time, and you don't have an IP on the steps of CPR. Those are just recommendations. that are tried and true. Many lives have been saved. And we have taken from the American Heart Association and the Red Cross as far as their guidelines and made those instructions relevant on CPR rap. And so it's like I wasn't trying to recreate the wheel. I was trying to make it better, because in 30 years, nothing has been done to improve on face masks for the non-medical community.
Right. Interesting. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Ed.
I'll just jump back in real quick. Sort of a similar question to Christie's, or related. Can you kind of walk through how, if I buy or I purchase CPR wrap, can you walk through how a customer learns to use the product? Like, what's the educational piece? Is it, hey, as soon as you open it up, there's instructions on how to use it, or kind of how would that play out in your mind?
Right. So when I invented CPR rap, I took in consideration, that some people couldn't read, and it would be global instead of the US. And even a 9-year-old child should be able to exert enough strength to do a compression. But how can I help them perform CPR? And so the guides and everything regarding around CPR rap is very simplistic. So when you open up that packet, put it on the victim, it has visual cues and cues that you can read to know what to do. And recently we developed a QR code that we're giving to the people that purchase it, where you can just take a picture of it, and you can see our demonstration video that we've made as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, we're almost out of time. Any quick questions? About 30 seconds.
Yeah, one more. Can you talk about the competition?
Right. Our competitions are pneumatic and battery operated, like the Zoll, the Pocket CPR, and those like such. And they are guided towards like hospitals. And there's a $19,000 to over hundreds of dollars for those products. That's why CPR is more efficient, it's compact, and it's very cost effective for the non-medical user.
Very cool. Great job. And right on time, too. There's Bessie. She joined us. Time is up.
All right. Told you our friend Bessie would show up.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So great questions, everyone. And I think it's really a really cool product. Judges, take a moment to complete your votes. And while you're voting, those of you who are out there watching, be sure to click that really shiny button over there on YouTube. It says subscribe, and you'll get all these updates like this video you're watching right now when we're doing them, especially our live events. So thanks so much, Felicia. I think it's really cool. I mean, when I took that course for CPR, the thing that really stuck out is a majority of the time, you're actually producing or doing CPR to save a life, because they're already gone. So I think it's important to understand that, like, this is life-saving at this point if you actually have to perform CPR. So it's really powerful.
Well, and as a parent, you want every tool available, because you're petrified of being in that situation.
You don't want to be in that situation, but if you are, you want to be able to act and do it the right way.
Right.
So.
Right.
Just to share, if not to get too personal, but I suffered something called sudden cardiac death. Heart stopped for about 5 to 10 minutes. Happened at UCLA. The team that was there. I actually went back to do something for American Heart Health Month about a year ago. But long story short, they walked me through everything that happened, and they were able to administer CPR and the right processes and steps for me. But there were other people that weren't as fortunate that actually ended up passing away because, sort of similar to what Felicia was saying, was in the heat of the moment, all that you're training kind of sometimes can snap to you, or can recede to the back of your mind.
Yeah, you can.
So in general, it's actually obviously a very useful solution, but also super important.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, we're glad you were in the right hands that day.
Yes.
Me too. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Judges, you're all good? Your scores?
Okay.
Excellent. All right. So next up, we have Freeman Capital. Founder Calvin Williams from Charlottesville, North Carolina is ready to pitch.
Hello, I am Calvin Williams, the founder of Freeman Capital. In the next 50 years, half of the U.S. population could have a net worth of 0 unless they take significant action right now. This is due to the wealth gap, the income gap, and health disparities. This especially impacts people of color. So at Freeman Capital, we are providing comprehensive wealth management as a service, solving people's number one problems. Now, the way that we do that is that we combine psychographic insights with their financial data, and then we use our wealth algorithm to make recommendations and advice. This helps the user find their missing steps. We provide proactive and predictive advice, combine that with recommendations on how to build wealth both in and out of the stock market, tailored to their risk tolerance. When a user signs up, we identify their relationship with money, their missing steps, and they get to work one-on-one with a certified financial planner. Our target market is over $116 billion. We are generating revenue through monthly subscriptions and other fees. We have been a direct-to-consumer business, but we will have a pilot with a Fortune 10 company providing financial wellness at the start of 2021. I am so proud to lead a team of experienced professionals with over 200 years from some of the top brands in finance technology and product marketing. We are on pace to have over $100,000 of annual recurring revenue in our first year due to our 30% month-over-month organic growth. What I'm most proud about is our 80% of our active users have increased their net worth in their first year. We are raising a round of seed capital. Love to talk about that in Q&A. I am Calvin Williams. Let's do something crazy and add over $500 billion back into this economy through building people's wealth. This is Freeman Capital, and wealth starts here.
Awesome.
All right.
All right. Calvin, you with us?
Yes, I am. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. Okay. All right, let's hear some questions from the judges. Who would like to go first? Shyla, you're up.
Oops. Sorry, I got fingers. Hey, Calvin, great presentation, and I appreciate what you're doing around solving sort of the wealth gap. That's really important, even in my work, so appreciate that. I do want to, your competition is probably pretty big. How are you going to set yourself apart from some of the bigger wealth management companies out there? Like, what's the differentiator for you?
Yeah, so when you look at the market, there are a number of different segments. You have the very large players like JP Morgan and Chase. They really are doubling down on just trying to capture the money transferring from their current clients to the next generation. Then you have the new upstarts like Robinhood and Betterment. And really the sweet spot that we are playing in is that unlike the other robos, we are providing two things. The first is comprehensive wealth management. We are including things from budgeting to loan to insurance and retirement planning. And we are focused on generational wealth, which for our target market is a term and a cause that they need the most. And so when you look at people of color, that is what they are looking for. And so we have been kind of riding the wave of the buying black and the investing black, which are two things that set us apart. So we are different in our culture and how we target, our underlying service, and who we are servicing.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, more questions. Aubry. Aubry, you are muted.
All right, tried to press the space bar, didn't work. Thanks for the presentation, super helpful. I was going to ask, what are if you could break down kind of like your economics in terms of what is the average account that you have on the platform, and then as far as the cost to serve, a lot of with these robo-advisors, a lot of it is around the scale that they can provide for these. So how are you guys, modeling out your cost to serve and taking people through their different risk tolerance TAMs that they fall in?
Exactly. So another great thing about how we have unbundled the business model is that rather than focus on charging asset under management fees, which is what the competition is doing, we are charging a monthly subscription fee. This means that a customer for Betterment that has less than $100,000 generates no real revenue for them. But for that customer, for us, they pay $65 per month. We have now turned an unprofitable customer into profitable with a low churn rate of under 3.8%. And so because of that, we are able to service these customers. So our customers come to us if they have assets, they kind of come in two chunks. Those who have no real assets and we're helping them get started. And then, those who have about 100 to 150K in assets. But the key part of our business model is that assets don't drive our revenue. It's the subscription fees. And then the actual cost to serve is currently dropping because of, as we get more users on the platform, it goes down. But as of yesterday, it was $36 per month to service a customer. Once we reach our scale, our goal is to have that number down to about $5.
And what does it cost you to acquire a customer?
Currently, as of yesterday, it was $25.16.
So you're making money back in the first month, is that right?
Correct,
Okay.
yes.
Hi, Calvin. Sorry, Aubry, not to cut in. Don't know if you have another one.
I was just going to ask, what's the average subscription revenue that you're getting?
So the average customer lifetime value is $885, excuse me.
All good. Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem. Calvin, great presentation. Question for you around go-to-market. So
Yes,
how are you thinking about customer acquisition?
Yep.
What are the channels you're using, and what's the cost of what's the CAC?
Of course, happy to detail that. So what we did was, first we started last year with a market survey to understand the market. We surveyed over 4,000 people to really understand those demographics and psychographics. That's really important because it is letting us target them through traditional paper ad channels, but at a lower lead cost. So if you take LinkedIn, for example, our competition is paying $51 to get a lead. Because of how we are targeting them, we got that down to $9. And so in terms of our B2C channels, we have our direct to consumer ads, we have our affiliate channel, which is really booming for us, and that is where most of our high quality, lower cost customers are coming in at. And then we of course do social. But really what we are focusing on is that we went B2C to get started, to get those lessons learned, but we're really excited about what happens next year when we start doing B2B2C or financial wellness through companies, because we are the only Black owned financial wellness company and wealth management firm in the nation. So as these companies are rolling out these, I don't call them quotas, but like minimum dollars to spend with Black-owned firms in the financial space, we have served as a beacon there, and then firms are reaching out to us because we're the only player in this space with Black-owned.
Wow.
Got it. Thank you. And in terms of partnerships, so not to give up too much of the secret sauce, but because it sounds like there's some things on the roadmap.
Yep.
In terms of partnerships. How are y'all thinking about leveraging that in terms of customer acquisition? So I'm thinking of like larger financial institutions, maybe even nonprofits, but I'm just curious if that's an angle that you're thinking about, or what the partnerships are.
That is a major part of our rollout for 2021. This year was really about honing in on the platform and the service, making sure that it was viable and valuable. And then now in 2021, we have already lined up a list of a couple hundred partners that have a total reach of over 2 million. And based off of the affiliates that we have started to work with, we know what the conversion rate is. And so we're able to project forward the value that we get back to us. And really, we want to add as much value as we can to our partners and pushing out education, doing office hours, that type of educational component, because the partners are what is going to really help us scale and explode in 2021.
Awesome. Thank you.
No, thank you, man.
Any more questions?
I have one more if nobody else has one.
Yeah, please.
If that's okay. So you mentioned team, impressive team.
Yes.
Over 200 years of experience collectively. Can you talk about where that experience is concentrated? Is that primarily in the management team? Is it across the whole team? How many people are on the team?
Yeah, so that is across the whole team. We've been a fully remote team since 2016. And so we have been working together for that long. So the 200 years spans the whole team of the leadership team and some of our key members as well.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, 22 seconds to spare. Unless Christie, did you have a question? Nope.
I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Calvin.
Good job.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So judges, take a moment to put in your scores. And while you do, I'm just going to share another interesting fact. Despite the challenges out there, there's good news. The number of Black-owned businesses in the US has increased by 400% in the past few years. So from about 2017, 2018 through 2019. So we've seen some increases. We don't know what COVID is doing to that right now. Obviously, I'm sure there are impacts, but prior to COVID, there were some really good trends. Black women form the fastest growing demographic of new business ownership. I think that rate was around 164%. So, we're seeing some growth there. Next, we need the investment capital to follow.
Yep, definitely. All right, next up, judges, you ready to go? Thumbs up, thumbs up. All right, all good. All right, next up, we've got Solo Funds. Travis Holloway, he's out of Los Angeles, California. Let's watch the pitch.
Hi, my name is Travis Holloway, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Solo Funds. Have you ever lived paycheck to paycheck? If the answer to that is no, you've been extremely fortunate, as 78% of the country, even before COVID, actually did, with women and minority women bearing the heaviest burden. These people take trips to payday lenders that look like this in order to make ends meet, where they're met with 400% average interest rates and can never improve their credit, even though the average borrower takes 8 loans a year at $375 each. So we created Solo, a mobile lending exchange connecting individual lenders to individual borrowers for the purpose of providing more affordable access to small dollar loans. The benefits to lenders are simple. They can earn industry-leading returns up to 12%, with an average payback duration of just 15 days. For borrowers, they actually are empowered to set their own terms, where they receive money fast, within seconds, and they can avoid predatory debt lending traps. Solo is differentiated from every other lender in the market today, as we're the only small dollar, short-term, completely mobile lender with no formal application process to get approved. In 27 months, we've originated 45,000 loans. We're currently on $1 million annualized revenue run rate. We've experienced 40% month-over-month growth, and we have an industry-leading CAC as well as take rate at 11%. We have partners such as Visa and Kiva that we're extremely excited about. Our executive team is comprised of subject matter experts across the board. My background's in finance, where I spent about 8 years as an advisor at Northwestern Mutual. My co-founder, Rodney, his background is originally from P&G as a brand manager, but he went on to found a company called Listener that's been a CNBC top 50 disruptor 4 times over and has raised over $40 million. Solo has raised $6 million in our seed round from phenomenal investors such as Impact America Fund, Techstars, and Mac Venture Capital. We're currently raising our Series A, where we're looking for lead investors, co-lead investors, or the participatory capital. Thank you.
You had me at $1 million in annualized revenue, I think. So, and then you started with CAC. So anyway, welcome, Travis.
Can I jump in? I have some questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Travis here.
Yeah,
how are you?
There he is. Welcome. Great job. Christie, jump on in.
Awesome. Thanks, Travis, for a great presentation. Can you tell us more about the customer or usage behavior on the product? So how many, do you see multiple loans from the same people on both sides? What's the repayment rate look like? So, and things of that nature.
Yeah, definitely. Great question. So on the borrower side, as I mentioned in the pitch, the average payday loan borrower takes 8 loans a year at $375 each. What we've seen on our platform is our average borrower takes between 4 to 6 loans per year, call it an average of about 5, which average about $200 each. Our average loan on the platform is just $200, as people are taking these loans for basic necessities. And in a post-COVID environment where people need money for groceries, rent, utility bills, et cetera, due to the layoffs, the furloughs, and hours being reduced, this is their cheapest and most affordable option for loans in the market. Our average lender actually does about 7 loans per month. And we have power lenders who actually fund the majority of the loans on the platform today, who are doing upwards of $20,000 per month in loans.
Wow.
And just one follow-up, what are you seeing in terms of the payback rate?
Oh, I'm sorry. Our default rate is industry leading. We're 3 times better than the payday lending industry, which averages about a 33% default rate. We're now creeping into the single digits from a default perspective, which is incredible. And we're seeing that continue to reduce further down. From a delinquency perspective, post-COVID, we've actually reduced our delinquency by nearly 20%. That's partly driven by the fact that Solo is actually revolving credit, even though it's facilitated in a peer-to-peer lending platform. People tend to pay back these loans because if I were to get a loan, from another company where I have maybe 12, 24, 36 month repayment duration,
you get the lump sum, but you're actually paying back that loan over time. And people in a capital scarce environment, especially in this post-COVID world, they look at that loan payment as I have to make a decision between paying back this loan or actually paying for groceries. On Solo, people are incentivized to pay the loans back because they may need to borrow a loan again in the future. And separately, when they actually do pay that loan back, they get access to a larger size loan in the future because we're building positive habits.
Very cool. Shyla? And then Ed.
Great presentation, and that visual with the folks at the check cashing loan was a little jarring for me. So appreciate what you're doing. A couple of things, and your progress. I followed you a long time ago, so really happy about your progress. So what's the typical sort of approval time? People are typically looking for these funds right away. So what's the approval time?
Yeah, so I'm super happy you asked that question. We're fulfilling loans in an unprecedented 1 hour. Actually, it's about 56 minutes. That is unprecedented in the peer-to-peer lending space. I don't care if it was Lending Club, Lending Tree, Prosper, any of those companies that we've heard of. No one's ever come close to that, which means we actually know this demographic very well. We know what the proper match for a marketplace is and how to build that. And because we're actually transferring money via debit rails versus ACH, once borrowers have their loans approved, they actually have funds and ready to use capital in seconds in their bank account. So this is the fastest and most affordable loan in the small dollar lending space by far.
So who are your typical lenders?
So our typical lenders are people who typically make between $75,000 and $150,000 a year. That was very deliberate on our behalf because these are people who don't have a significant amount of capital tied up into the stock market, which means back in March, they didn't take that 30% haircut that many people did, which means, and they also weren't laid off and furloughed at very high rates, which means our overall sources of capital have been largely protected. These individuals are people who are, financial analysts. They might be your local welder or electrician, because those people to my former career, no one was actually going after those blue collar workers who might be working in Cleveland, Ohio, like my father, who worked at General Motors for 37 years. He will never have a Goldman Sachs advisor reach out to him. And we wanted to create an opportunity for people who have discretionary capital to be able to deploy that capital, earn significant returns, but also have that double bottom line where they can actually have a positive social impact on their communities as well.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I was going to ask next. So how are they, what's the incentive for them outside of, of course they get a return, but of course the social impact is also a piece of that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Ed, go ahead. And then Aubry.
Travis, great to meet you. Great presentation. Congratulations on all the success and all the hard work you put in so far. A question around credit and reporting. Do y'all report to the credit agencies? Does this help folks build credit? Can you kind of speak to that process a little bit?
Yeah, great question. So what we built is a one-time per transaction credit score. We believe that the FICO score is largely broken as it pertains to the underbanked, as people aren't buying homes, buying cars, using credit cards the way that prior generations have. 70% of millennials use debit cards versus credit cards. And if, we need alternative data to be able to provide to more traditional institutions to allow them to make more informed credit decisions. And that's what we're doing. We're looking at, on our platform, an individual's ability to repay small dollar short-term loan on a specified date and time. FICO is looking at your ability to make multiple payments over a long duration of time, but we want to know, can I actually pay back, Travis on the 15th of this month? So from that perspective, we're not looking at traditional FICO scores to underwrite our loans. We have a completely proprietary underwriting model, but going forward, we will be using our data to provide what we call a path to upward financial mobility for our users. Currently, right now, we do not report to bureaus to positively impact credit scores, largely because we repay loans in one-time lump sums. But what's coming down our product roadmap, Q1 of next year, is installment loans and installment repayments, which will allow us to report these loans to bureaus to positively impact scores. So that's coming very soon, and we're really excited about it.
Awesome. And then the other question I had was around, I think Shyla had asked you about folks on the platform. How do you think about sourcing and, I guess, acquiring folks on the funders on the platform? How are y'all going about that? What are the channels y'all are going to, and how are y'all thinking about onboarding folks?
Yeah, so the majority of our users are actually growing organically right now. We're growing at June versus July, we grew at 56%. and just the total volume of loans funded, as well as over 40% for new users. That's largely being driven by word of mouth. 60% of our App Store downloads actually come from direct search, which goes to show how strong our word of mouth indicator actually is. And that's even with some larger companies in the space, not necessarily directly, that mirror Solo, but just targeting the underbanked that are actually buying ads against us. So we're performing extremely well there. Our biggest acquisition channels from a paid perspective are Facebook and Instagram, in which we have an industry-leading CAC at just $10. That is unprecedented in the lending space, especially at a seed stage.
Great. Yeah, can we squeeze? Aubrey's got a question, I think, still, hopefully.
Oh, yeah, I had one question, which was, and nice to meet you, great presentation. What you mentioned the default rates were quite low and industry leading. What is driving that? If they're versus, if the same demographic is getting loans from other lenders?
Well, so for the payday lending industry specifically, we always had this notion that payday lenders were predatory and they were basically pricing everyone based off of the price of their riskiest borrower. And we're basically allowing people to come in and borrowers to set their own terms. So if borrowers are actually able to set their own terms because it's a marketplace, they have a lot more insight in their ability to repay when they set those terms. But separately, because we're looking at banking transactional history, we can see how frequently people get paid, when do major bills come out, what are your overall spending habits, and that cash flow data, we can actually better assess their ability to repay those loans. So we're doing more diligence in the front to determine, and we're also doing automatic debits from bank accounts to repay those loans, which is also the driving factor. Outside of the fact that because this is revolving, as people pay back loans, they're able to take loans in the future and larger loans and actually build their score, which makes them more attractive in the market. Borrowers are highly incentivized to repay these loans.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it, Travis. Great question. Judges, take a moment to get those votes in there. Really cool product.
All right, and while the judges are finishing up, we want to make sure that all of you out there know that our partner .us is offering our community a free .us domain offer. So this is a great time, great opportunity to get your idea online. If you have something that's been stirring in the back of your mind.
We all have ideas, right?
We all have tons of ideas.
Yeah.
Now is the time to get them out there.
Wait no longer.
Go grab a domain, and maybe you'll find one that you wouldn't be able to get if you were looking for a .com. We grabbed our established .us. We're in good company. I think MasterCard.us. I think there's some others out there.
Zoom.us.
So yeah, there's a lot of good companies who are .us now.
Yeah.
So grab yours. The link is in the chat.
Yep, for sure. All right, how are we doing, judges? Give me the thumbs up if we're good.
I'm really jealous of Christie and Ed sitting there in the sunshine.
It looks really nice.
It looks so nice.
It's great, except for you might notice sometimes the sun comes out from behind the cloud, and then I'm like.
I try to move, and the clouds.
Now the sun's out. Yep, I saw that. Aubrey, how are we doing? We good? Thumbs up. Okay. Next up, we've got Therma Band with Markia Dickinson from Weston, Florida. So let's watch the pitch.
I'm Markia Dickinson, the co-founder of Therma Band. How many of you frequently feel cooler or warmer in a room than you'd like? Well, the reality is that half the people on the planet experience a personal inferno that rages within in the form of a hot flash. We envision a world where thermal relief is accessible and menopause is a celebrated milestone in a woman's life. The reality is that menopause doesn't only lead to discomfort and inconvenience. Research shows that it impacts quality of life and productivity and economic outcomes. The present solutions are ineffective, invasive, and dated, like frozen necklaces and hormonal replacement therapy. Women seek a natural, non-invasive tech solution. Our team brings legal, operations, and engineering expertise, along with an advisory board of physicians and scientists. And the mission was really born out of my mother/co-founder's personal experience and her need for a solution for an age-old problem. Our product, the Zone, is a smart personal thermostat that represents an equitable solution for women. Our product is unique with automated heating and cooling features utilizing digital health data to identify thermal fluctuations and activate the device accordingly. Our go-to-market strategy is focused on the core menopausal market of 550 million women, with a significant market adjacency opportunity to expand beyond to address the 3.5 billion people total addressable market. Speed to market and traction have propelled us thus far. Over the past 10 months, we've validated our product market fit through focus groups and surveys, and have gathered over 600 early access signups, in addition to a comprehensive IP strategy with patents pending. Join the movement to foster a sense of unity and sisterhood to provide thermal relief. Sign up for early access on our website. Thank you.
All right, let's bring Markia in here. Great job. I'm going to kick it off with the first question. I'm constantly hot, including right now. Can I use this product? Is this
Absolutely.
Okay.
Definitely can. Yes, for sure.
All right, we've got the first question.
I'll go first.
All right, Shyla.
So great presentation. I'm curious about the cost, and is it a direct to consumer product? If you can just expound on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're kind of we're trying to understand the different cost components now in terms of unit economics. The cost that we have as of now is $199, and we are planning on direct to consumer, but we're also planning on B2B2C in terms of partnering with women's health clinics. We've already started conversations with women's health clinics and different research institutions, different OBGYNs, to kind of understand all the different distribution channels and meet women where they are in terms of where they're already seeking the support they need when it comes to menopausal symptoms. But at least our initial go-to-market strategy is to launch through our e-commerce site.
Okay, so you guys haven't had any revenue so far?
No, we are launching on Mother's Day of next year, and kind of where we are, which is very fitting. But where we are now, where we are now is we're doing pre-orders for our product through our website. We've kind of where we're at now is testing the functional prototype with several women. We have a consumer advisory board of women that have been testing it and really making sure that we could have launched a few months ago, but we want to make sure that it's what they need. And really addressing the problem that they have in terms of hot flash relief.
Okay, right, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, Aubry, go ahead.
Yeah, just if you could just help me break down more to what about the device, other than the cooling mechanism, what insights does it provide? What's the experience for the consumer where they need a wearable to manage these symptoms?
Absolutely. So if you think about the typical challenges or the debilitating symptoms that a menopausal woman has in terms of the hot flash relief. Hot flashes usually last a period of 7 years. And really, as I mentioned in the presentation, they impact a lot more than just comfort and inconvenience. So if you think about a woman's, her going through daily life, whether it's in the workplace, and just the inequitable, they need an equitable solution in terms of being able to feel like they can bring their best self to any environment that they're in. And in terms of what it provides beyond just the heating and cooling, we also have digital health data. So there's a software component as well. And there's 3 different types of embedded sensors that are in the device that are outside of just skin temperature, that actually analyze, or that have 24/7 continuous tracking. And we have a machine learning algorithm that understands those data points and actually activates the device to preclude the hot flash. And we're testing that functionality now and working with research institutions to make sure that the functionality is effective and proving to be what it says, or what what the objective is. We also are working with our software developer on an app that will then have a dashboard that will show women. It will link with Apple Health. It's going to link with Fitbit, and will show women kind of their where they're at in terms of 2 main things. One is temperature, and just understanding, when they're having their hot flashes, hot flash duration, intensity, and those types of things. And the other big component is sleep, and understanding sleep duration, sleep intensity, and kind of when women are, able to have their, when they're in their REM versus not. Night sweats is another huge menopausal symptom. So those are probably the 2 main things or areas that we're focusing on data-wise. And that was a direct response to women. We had a focus groups of over 200 women where they said, this is what we need. And it would be really nice to have a solution that addresses both the heating and cooling, but then also allowing us to understand our sleep.
Great. Who's got Christie, go ahead.
So can you get a little more granular in how the device actually works? What's coming to mind for me is heating and cooling seats in a car.
Yes.
So is it similar to that? Like effectively the device knows when a woman is having a hot flash and it starts cooling and it's against this pressure point, and that's why it's effectively cooling the whole body?
Exactly. So yeah, so I can break down the science a little bit more. So it's actually so there's two key components. One, there's actually a mind-body response that is it's very similar to the technology that's in a car heat seater. That's usually or the car seat heater. That's usually the analogy that I use, because that technology is called the Peltier module. And it's a very, very similar feeling in terms of localized heating and cooling affecting your whole body comfort. And whether it actually changes your body temperature or not which it actually does, but whether it changes it or not, it's actually the perception, like the mind-body response perception, that is having a larger impact on kind of your body's ability to feel comfortable. So what it does is it actually sends so when the device activates, as I mentioned, through the 3 embedded sensors, it actually sends when it activates with the heating or cooling, it actually sends a signal to your brain that actually counteracts whatever, the hot flash is kind of interesting to understand, because it actually isn't your body temperature that's rising. It actually is your brain sending a false signal in your body. So we have several advisors that are menopausal experts and OBGYNs to help us kind of understand that. So it counteracts the signal in your brain that's sending to say that your body is actually overheating, and it allows the woman to feel much more comfortable. And it can work. I mean, Frank, you mentioned it a little bit earlier. We're definitely focusing on this massive opportunity, the $3.5 billion menopausal hot flash market, but that's our initial go-to-market strategy. And then we're planning to expand beyond.
Men run hot too. I've been using cold showers. It works, but it's just
exactly.
hard
And
to stand in that
cold
long.
showers. There's folks that step on. Actually, Michelle Obama, she had a podcast a few weeks ago, and she talked about stepping on a cold floor and the relief that provides your full body. So you wouldn't think that, or sitting next to a hot fire if you're feeling cool. So it's
You're trying to say
you run hot. All right. Any other? Oh, Ed, go ahead.
Yes. Markia, great presentation. Pleasure to meet you. Question for you. So you'd mentioned the dashboard. So that's I'm glad you brought it up, because I was going to ask about it. This dashboard, is it can you kind of walk through what the roadmap is for it? So I'm assuming initially it'll probably be more of a screen where you can read about what's happening. But do you see, is there a world where it becomes more prescriptive and starts to address other physical conditions or ailments that
absolutely
might
absolutely yep. So that is absolutely our roadmap, in terms of we're trying to be laser focused. If you try to do everything at once, and it's kind of, we want to make sure that we're addressing what needs to be addressed now, but there's so many what we're doing now is embedding several sensors beyond, as I mentioned, just temperature in the device, to be able to enable us to have the functionality to expand far beyond just sleep, or just temperature, and then just sleep, and then even thinking about hydration, which is also an issue that we've heard from several women in terms of knowing, where the levels are in terms of hydration, potential push notifications to understand, kind of where you're at throughout the day, and then of course leveraging the power of like prescriptive medication in terms of being able to understand your body and being able to cater the care towards you, and of course leveraging all the telehealth and the realities of today in terms of where we're at with COVID.
Very cool. Thank you so much, Markia.
Thank you.
Great stuff. And it looks like time is up, but Therma Band is really great stuff. Judges, take a moment to collect and tabulate your thoughts and votes. And in the meantime, an interesting fact. In 2003, Oprah Winfrey, we all know Oprah, extremely well-known and notable Black female entrepreneur, became the first American billionaire. First Black American billionaire, yes. And
there are other billionaires.
Yeah, definitely a lot. But I guess the notable part there is also in the last 5 years, there's been four others as well to reach that that are also Black American billionaires. So that's trending in the right direction. Obviously, a lot of work to do. There's still a lot of opportunity for great things to come, and hopefully one of these startups.
I was gonna say, just looking at these entrepreneurs.
Yep.
Pretty excited.
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed. Pretty impressed with this group so far. So. All right. How are we doing?
Should we move on yet? I'm going to wait for some thumbs. Don't want to.
I mean, any one of these could be startup of the year. I mean, really great.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to get started then.
Mhm.
Last but not least, youth enrichments. We have founder Margot Baines from Houston, Texas. Let's see her pitch.
There's been a 15% increase in suicidal death due to low self-esteem amongst kids. My name is Margot Baines, and growing up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, I suffered from low self-esteem, and as a result, I was subject to unhealthy coping mechanisms. Unhealthy self-esteem in kids translates to unreached potential in adults. This is why I created Youth Enrichments, a software-as-a-service, self-esteem-based e-learning platform that delivers social and emotional learning to kids ages 6 through 14. Our platform collects actionable data while teaching the curriculum. Our unique character-led instruction increases engagement in our target audience. Parents enroll their kids on a monthly subscription, or schools will contract our services. Children take a pre-course survey and continue throughout the course. After course completion, they take a post-course survey to determine their climate, and then data is provided to key decision makers for further action like course continuation, therapy, or even counseling. We've already impacted over 10,000 kids and grossed nearly $300K in our early stages, as we've developed strong relationships with parents, school districts, and organizations throughout Houston. While we don't have direct competition, our customers do have another alternative. Neither of them delivers the actual curriculum while collecting the data and uniquely engaging the audience. Our unique business model is a strategic B2B and B2C system. My BA in finance, as a 10-year Army veteran with a passion for social services, molded me into the perfect leader for my social enterprise. My team has a combined 40 years of sales and educational marketing experience. We also have a behaviorist and tech advisor to ensure that our technology is both impactful and effective in global markets. Children shouldn't be limited to unrealized potential due to unhealthy self-esteem. Our platform is helping to shape the minds of youth and impact their conditions, so we have more world leaders, problem solvers, and disruptors. We are using the power of technology, empowerment, and data to help children realize and reach their full potential.
Great.
Awesome. Welcome, Margot. Okay, let's jump right into questions.
Okay, I wanted to say thanks for using our pictures on the last slide. That was very cool. I was like, hey, I get to be up here with Kamala and so many others. Okay, quick question. I have a son. He's a little baby still, so he's not engaging with any technology like this yet. But many of my friends have kids who are school aged, and their kids are having a really hard time spending any time in front of a computer because of distance learning. So what do you see for the kids that you're helping? Like, what is their engagement like, and their interaction with your product?
Yeah, so a lot of our they love really signing on to the sessions and being able to connect with kids from any and everywhere. So it's not like they're just sitting in front of a computer and they're just reading something off the screen. We give them interactive assignments, and they really get to connect with other people, so that we're constantly developing their social skills.
Okay, so it's kind of like a Club Penguin or a Roblox where there's a social element.
Yes. Oh, yes. Big social element. Yes.
Great. Thank you.
Aubry.
I was going to ask, what's the core user age? And then how do you guard against what I've seen with some of these platforms is that there's this fine tension of engagement from youth and this kind of big brother sentiment where parents or educators are overseeing and taking action on some of the like confidential things they're doing. So how do you, some of that depends on age. So I guess one is the age, and then the second is how do you ensure that that it feels like an anonymous, authentic experience to the kids working on it?
Yeah, so we really make sure that we are personalizing the experience for each one of the users. The parents will have like their own interface where they can see the data from their children through pre and post surveys, but the kids are actually interacting with one another on the platform, and it's personalized. So at the end of each course, they get a personalized certificate to say, hey, you completed this course. This is what it looks like. And they get to hang it up on their walls. They also get to do like a lot of really fun principles. And all of those are also personalized because it comes with their names, and they get to keep scores from the games and everything that they play. So we really make sure that we personalize the experience for each user.
More questions? Go ahead, Ed.
Margo, pleasure to meet you. Great presentation. Question for you about the curriculum itself. Was it developed in-house? Is it proprietary? Did you partner with outside organizations? Can you kind of walk through the curriculum a little bit and how it was developed?
Yes. So I started developing the curriculum with a behaviorist that I have. And another team member, she has an MBA in education and she's been in education for about 15 years. So we came up with these really fun workshops that we host the curriculum. And in Texas, they have something called TEKS. So you have to follow certain guidelines so that you can get credit in school. So we use some of those same elements within the curriculum that we are writing. And then the pre and post surveys, we have them go through like these peer-reviewed journals so that we're making sure that we're collecting the actual data to gauge the learning of each participant to make sure that it's actually effective for that learner.
Okay, awesome. And is the idea that you're leveraging school systems to get these in the hands of children, or are you going directly to the parents, or? Okay.
Both. So we go directly to the parents, and then we also have these strategic partners with the school districts. Like the largest school district in Houston is Houston Independent School District, and we secured a partnership with them so that we can pretty much deploy our curriculum to all of their schools. So all the schools need to do is just contact us, and we'll put a contract in place and then go from there. The parents, they can literally just enroll their child from a computer, and then they have like a parent account and then a child account. So we do both. So parents and school districts. And then we've also partnered with a couple of different churches and organizations as well.
Okay, nice. And just so I'm clear, is the parent account to monitor kind of the children's progress and see how they're doing and tracking towards like, okay, got it.
Yes. The parent account is for that. We are also working to really upload different like workshop modules for the parents so that they can also help their child at home with increasing self-esteem, things to work on when it comes to how to make your kid more confident, or emphasizing positive body image and things like that.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
So great presentation. I really like the focus on children. I am, you started at age 6. Did you guys, was there some sort of research that said that you started at that age to start, having kids thinking about self-esteem and that sort of thing?
Yeah, a lot of the research showed that children between the ages of 6 and 14 are really impressionable, and 75% of these kids suffer from low self-esteem. So when we're able to really implement that curriculum at that young of an age group, what we're doing is we're teaching them these certain skill sets so they're growing up into these lessons. So as opposed to starting when they're really, really young and they are not comprehending a lot of the curriculum that we're teaching, or as opposed to when they're older, when they have a lot of their characteristics concrete in them. Not to say that we don't offer classes for the younger group, like 3, 4, and 5-year-olds or older, but this target audience is a lot more effective.
Okay, and so what's the price point? It's a subscription service, right?
Yes, so parents subscribe at $9.99 a month, and then we have schools or churches. Well, schools really contract for about $5,500 per school year, and then with the churches, we have per 50 users that they'll sign up on a contract with us for.
And then lastly, in terms of security, how do so someone signs up, a parent signs up. How do we know that that's another kid on the other end of the computer and not some adult? Just thinking about security and hacking and all that sort of stuff.
Yes. So when the children actually are in the courses, we are using sort of Zoom as like the live go-to meeting. And we have passwords that are protected through Zoom. So when kids sign up and we are having these live sessions, the children are taking the courses, they have to have their cameras on. And the parents are aware of that as well. So if parents want to sign up, or if they want to join their kids on a course, a live session, just to make sure their kid is doing what they're supposed to be doing, and just to make sure we are on the other end, they are more than welcome to do that. But we make sure that we have certain, privacy measures in place, because we know we are dealing with children between the ages of 6 and 14.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, real quick, last question. So you said in the presentation you don't have any direct competitors. Can you talk about what you think of as the competitive landscape?
Yeah, so honestly, when I started this this company, there weren't any other, I guess, alternatives as far as really keeping things interactive with the kids, and then delivering effective data and teaching the actual curriculum. So like Panorama Education is a company who they've been around for a couple of years. They collect the data, and they pretty much measure student climate within the different schools and the school districts, but they aren't actually teaching the curriculum. So when it comes to the competitive landscape, I think that my company is we are setting the bar for social and emotional learning, with a sort of a technology edge, and then implementing the data at the same time.
All right.
All right. Thank you so
Thanks
much,
so much,
Margot.
Margot.
All right,
Great job.
judges, you guys have a tough job now, but go through all your scores. Make sure you can take this time to even, I think, go back. And if there's anything you want to recalibrate, go ahead and do it. And in the meantime.
Yeah, how about a round of applause for those startups? Those are amazing. Great job, everyone. Incredible startups. Thank you, startups. Great job. Like I said, they could all, any of those startups could be a startup of the year here this year.
Yeah.
So while the votes are being tallied, we want to let you know, we want to thank you again for joining us here today. We know there's a lot of other things you could have been doing, but appreciate you watching today, and want to let you know that there's still opportunity for you to be involved in the Startup of the Year program. September 15th is the deadline for the 2020 Startup of the Year program. That also includes the .US Veteran Startup of the Year category. So if you're thinking about joining or being a part of it, get your application in right away, because it's rolling admissions, and we already are doing things like this and fast tracking companies, and you want to be a part of that. You don't want to miss out. So time is now. So get those applications in as soon as possible, so we can get in there and have a good time and meet some great people and interact with great investors and thought leaders, and really build relationships that make you further along your company.
Yep. And before we announce the winners, we would actually love to engage the judges for a moment and get some last words of advice for these startups or anyone out there who's thinking about starting something or might be getting something going. So I'm gonna pick on each one of you to just share just a couple words of advice.
Words of wisdom.
Words of wisdom. Yeah. Everyone's looking up too, so that means no one's still working on their scores. Let's start with Christie.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so for the startups that presented today, I think the first thing is we only had a few minutes to get to know you and get to know your business. So any advice or feedback that we might have for you is not going to be nearly as close to business as you are. And so remember to keep that in stride and keep going. That would be my big piece. And then the other thing is just have fun and take care of yourself, because the startup journey is a long one. It can be lonely, and it's really important to remember that you can't pour from an empty cup. So if you're able to take care of yourself along this journey, then it will enable you to have the strength you need to take it to the next step.
Great advice.
Thanks,
Self-care
Christie.
is important, and celebrating those wins.
Yep. All right, let's go to Ed.
Sure. So I think everybody did a great job today. I definitely would echo Christie's words in terms of all of the folks that presented today, and in generally startup founders are subject matter experts in whatever field or domain they're going into. So leaning into that and taking every bit of advice with a grain of salt. Advice I would give is keep going. I know this is obviously not something most, if not anybody, has experienced. And so this is kind of a new world for everybody. And so probably going to be challenging, probably going to be difficult, probably going to be frustrating, but keep putting one foot in front of the other and going forward. And definitely lean into your networks or your circles of other people who are doing something similar, or just having people that you can talk to and use that release, because I do think that one of the other effects that we will not really know the complete toll once we come out of this is the mental health aspect of it. And so making sure to do a sanity check, vent if you need to, but then getting back to the hustle, and have fun and enjoy the journey, because in 10 years, you may look back and not really remember anything that happened. So try to enjoy that.
That's true.
And enjoy it.
Yep, that's a good one. Before we go to the next judge, real quick, judges, make sure you hit submit on that judging form so that we can tally. I think there's a few that are maybe not quite in there yet. So hit submit, if you double check it, and then we'll be able to continue our tabulation behind the scenes here.
All right, let's go to Aubry, if you're ready.
Yeah, sure. So advice. So I wish I told everybody that the other judges did a better job of sort of pausing to tell them they did a good job. I think it's really hard to present on these things, especially via video recording. So everyone did a good job. I would say one thing is just to keep in mind that like you have your own unique voice. And I know I pitched hundreds of PCs and raised through several rounds, and it was always very clear that like people got it right away, and like the ones who did and were really in my corner. So I think instead of focusing on all the people who don't get it or maybe say no, you know, there will be people along the way who really understand your vision and you click with. And so focus on finding those people. And then once you find those people, asking them to introduce you to more people like them. Because they're out there. And the other thing I always say is assume that everything's going to take 1.5 the time and 1.5 the cost that you think it's going to take. So just like plan extra buffer. When I meet a lot of entrepreneurs, actually women are a bit more pragmatic statistically, but always build in that buffer. And then similar to what the other judges were saying, just like take time to we always look back on the company and we wish we would have taken a photo during that day, a video during that day, like catalog for yourself your journey. They're like these little celebration moments that I think when you're working so hard, you're kind of like, oh, I just want to go home, like finally it's done. So make sure to take those little moments of celebration for yourself, because then you'll look back and have a much fonder memory of it.
Couldn't agree with you more. Definitely something that we been preaching for a while from our early days of Tech Cocktail to Tech Co and whatnot. And you know, celebratory moments are super important, and to add those out as potential things to like look forward to too, because it can be a long haul. You could be doing something for 10 years or 13.
We did.
It
took us 10 years to build the company and sell it.
Yeah.
All right, Shyla.
Sure. So I think it's important for the entrepreneurs to remember their why. You know, why did you get started? Why are you doing this? And then why you? And keep that in front of you at all times, because there are going to be people who will tell you that you're not capable of why are you doing this? Shouldn't you be doing something else? You're better at something else. And just continue to lean into that. And I think that'll drive you to be successful. As long as you keep, some of those negative folks out of your life who are whispering things in your ear that just aren't helpful. So just continue to do that, continue to build, focus on your customers. Everybody is looking to run and grab VC money, and I'm saying focus on your customers. They're important. They need you more, and the money will come on the other side. So just focus on growing your company. Do well. You're doing well. You showed up here today. Just continue to show up. And I'm proud of everyone that presented today. It takes a lot to get in front of some unknowns and not know what kind of questions we're going to ask, but then to be able to have the answer to them. So everybody did a great job. I'm glad to be here and be able to see it. So I'm really proud of you guys.
Great.
Awesome. That's all really good advice.
Yes, for sure.
All right, where are we at? Scores.
We're still waiting for the tabulation here from our team at Established. They're working around the clock here. I think they've got their calculators out. Do you ever remember those big ones? What are those big calculators? Graphing calculators? Yeah. I think it was a brute. All right. So here we are. I think we're at our chance to name the People's Choice, right? And they're a recipient of the Silver Microphone Trophy. And they'll have a drum roll, please, for the winner. Oh, I'm getting real-time updates that says, wait, Frank. I don't usually get that. That's not usually a sign I get. So
the suspense.
I know, they're really messing with us today.
In the biz, they call that a cliffhanger.
Yeah, right.
When we're on stage doing this, it's always like, you just start doing your song and dance.
Right. It's hard on virtual. It's a lot harder to do the song and dance. I can't move my legs right now.
Okay.
So
I think
can't
we
get my
got
feet
it.
out there. Okay, we ready? All right. All right. So without further ado, the winner of the People's Choice Award, which is the recipient of a silver microphone trophy, and we'll have a little bit of a drum roll, please, is Youth Enrichment. Congratulations. Youth Enrichment. Margot, come on over. I think she's going to come over and we'll welcome her back for a word and a picture and an opportunity. Say hello. Margot.
Right.
Hey, Margot.
Margot.
Yeah, congratulations, Margot. Awesome job. Unmute yourself for a sec.
Congratulations.
Sorry. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Great job. We're going to do a quick
A picture
moment here.
Everyone smile.
Yeah. Photographer's out there somewhere. All right. Hopefully somebody captured that somewhere on the internet.
All right.
Great job. All right.
Get your trophy cabinet ready.
Yeah, get that trophy cabinet ready.
Thank you.
You got a new trophy to put in it. Silver microphone. Nice work. All right.
All right. So the moment we're all waiting for, I think I have it. All right. So the winner. I'll make sure I get this name right. The winner of today's Startup of the Year virtual pitch competition celebrating Black founders who will receive $1,000 cash, a gold microphone trophy, and will automatically advance as a top 100 semifinalist at the Startup of the Year Summit this fall is, there will be a drum roll. Drum roll. Freeman Capital. Woo! All right, so Calvin, come on over. We'd love to hear a word from you.
Congratulations, Calvin. Where's he at?
Wow,
There he
wow.
is.
There he is.
Great job, Calvin.
Thank you so much. Wow, man. I didn't expect this. This court was amazing. So thank you very much.
It really was.
Really
all right,
was.
let's all take a photo.
Yeah, quick photo with everyone.
Maybe we'll do
Congratulations.
a quick all right?
Yep.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Smile. All right.
All right.
Thank you, Calvin. Look forward to seeing you at our summit here soon, and we'll get you that
Your
$1,000
golden trophy.
Yeah, golden trophy and $1,000 as well. Well, that $1,000, I guess we haven't figured out. Is that going to be a big check, one of those big ones?
We'll just mail you a big old check, or Venmo or PayPal.
Yeah.
Venmo.
And Venmo will probably be easier. Yeah, something like that. So, all right, and we're gonna have all the startups come back here for a second, and
wow,
we're gonna do a quick group shot, which is unprecedented. We've never done this before in our virtual online event careers. Just want to get the okay. Is everyone here?
I see 1, 2, 3. Wait, 1.
Yep, I see everyone.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Jen's a faster counter.
I'm
Apparently.
not seeing Marquia. No, she's up there. Sorry.
Okay.
Marquia's here.
There she is.
A Brady Bunch.
Great job, everyone.
Great job. You all did a tremendous job. Your companies are really, really interesting, and I'm really excited about what
And
you're
needed.
up to.
They're all needed.
Yes, definitely.
All right, so we're gonna take a picture. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Thank you all for tuning in again today. We really appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time. And remember, if you're out there on the internet right now and you're watching, hit that juicy subscribe button and be a part of our experiences throughout the journey here as we help startups along the way with the Startup of the Year program and everything we do at Establish. So thanks again. See you again soon, and stay safe out there and be well. And if you have an idea, today, not tomorrow, today is the best day to start. So get it done. Let's go.
Absolutely. Thank you everyone for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again in November at the Startup of the Year Summit. Keep an eye out for an invite, and we will see you there.
Can't wait.